Hello, good evening. So I hope that this Go Live finds you doing well on this Tuesday evening. And as promised, I am here to review the Queen of Cups. So I'm going to hold her up so that you can look at her. Again, taking in, is she looking directly at us or away? What is her body posture? The colors that are predominant in the picture, what you see in the background, and also analyze, how does the card make you feel? Does it make you feel comfortable or uncomfortable? All these are important, especially when you're, learning tarot and obtaining confidence at being an intuitive reader. So we're going to go over some things here. So here we see this beautiful lady looking quite regal, and she is seated upon a stone throne on the beach. Hi, Mom. Good evening. It's good to see you. Your boss lady must be allowing you on. So here we're seeing the beautiful queen seated upon this stone throne. And if you look closely, so she has this long gown and a cape, and they mix with the water from the ocean. This is very significant and important because with the Queen of Cups, again, cups are about intuition and emotion. The Queen is very much immersed in an emotional state, but that doesn't mean that she is transparent or acting on everything that she's feeling. If anything, what we have here would be our queen, and she is very focused, not on us, but on this cup that is closed off, and it's got angels on either side of it. And she's holding this, supporting the base of it with both hands, and she's very much reflecting upon it. And based on my research with how the cup is covered, that is significant. That means that this is more of the subconscious. So it's things that we may or may not even be aware of. More likely we're not even aware of, that are simmering beneath the surface that contribute to our emotional state. It's also very much intertwined with our intuition. Those gut feelings. So even though the Queen of Cups is not a logical person, okay, again, this is a very emotionally fueled being. However, she is very composed and very thoughtful in this image, and she is firmly focused on what's playing inside her, what she's feeling, and she's processing that emotion, trying to make sense out of it to determine how best to move forward, maybe what's best to say or do in a situation, but not a whole lot of logics in play because, again, we're very much in the cups. So this person's very much somebody, they are creative, generally speaking, any type of creative endeavor. They are nurturing, caregivers. And I hate to say it because society does define it as more of a female role, more of a nurturer. So think of your caregivers, teachers, nurses, people in healthcare in general, even our mothers. Like, even though this is not the Empress card from the Major Arcana, I'm not trying to get like confusion simmering, but those vibes of being very nurturing and supportive. That is what the Queen of Cups is. And again, very much in touch with her own water, her intuition, and her personal thought processes. This throne that she sits upon is decked out in angels. So again, this is somebody also that's in touch with her faith and finds empowerment by that. So when I'm saying she, or even at times during these Go Lives he, again, it's gender neutral. It's all about the energy of the card. So it doesn't matter as far as sex goes, even though we've got a female pictured on the card. And so we've got these little rocks beneath her. So at times, given that the throne is made of stone and she's got these rocks underneath her feet, it's not necessarily a comfortable thing to be inside her head with these thoughts and these emotions going on, trying to make sense out of it. And again, very much her garment flows into the water there, very much a lot of emotions going on under the surface, yet very controlled. And she's alone. So there's nobody else pictured in this card. We've got blue skies, blue water. We've got tranquility and quiet. So she can think without being distracted. Now, one important thing to reference with this is, again, because we're dealing with the Queen of Cups and because it's cups, all right, which again delves into water and emotion and intuition. This is very much the only other card in tarot of all 78 cards that trumps her as far as being in touch with her intuition would be from the major arcana, which would be the High Priestess. So if you have not watched the Go Live on the High Priestess, I do have my videos on YouTube under Mountain Crow Tarot. Check her out because the High Priestess is all about intuition. That is the only card in that whole deck that will trump the Queen of Cups as far as being in touch with her intuition and the importance of that and being self-aware of her emotional state and processing that. And again, not a whole lot of logic's involved here, you know. So I'm going to look at the notes I took on the card. I see my hubby's on here. Hi, Tim. So let's see here. So with this individual, they think with their heart. Again, there's no logic. Some descripting or descriptor words would be intuitive. So not just basic intuition, but it's defined as powerful intuition. Somebody very much in touch with what's going on inside. Compassion, warmth, kindness, supportive, nurturing, connects on an emotional level with relationships. And I do feel like, especially in our society as women, we are seen as the people who really do work on those relationships and talk about our feelings. And of course, I don't like labels. I'm not trying to apply labels, but generally speaking, men in our society, it's wrong, but it's there. They are not supposed to talk about their feelings and emotions. They try to like bottle things inside and be strong for everybody. And it's more so seen as like women being the emotional ones that want to talk about emotions and stuff. I really dislike those labels because I think it could go either way. That men, of course, are human beings and they feel emotions. And I'm sure there's plenty of them out there who are very secure in themselves and comfortable with being like telling somebody, I feel angry, disappointed, sad, and just going with that narrative. So again, I feel like that's a bit outdated and unfair when it comes to the different sexes, you know. So this acts as a mirror and reflects the depth in others, allowing them to see themselves in a new light. I like that. I wrote that down, you know. I thought that was really well worded. The emotional anchor for somebody else. So another person would be, say, a counselor, a therapist, somebody that you're pouring your heart out to and letting them know about your mental struggles. This is somebody who's going to really listen and internalize what you're saying and help you make sense out of it. So whether, again, if be a male or female, it doesn't matter. They would embody that Queen of Cup energy. Again, focusing and making sense out of the chaos that's inside. They're also seen as very dreamy. So this is like a dreamer. And also they can be psychic due to their connection with their intuition. Not always, but they can be. Now, as far as the symbols go, we mentioned or talked about how the throne is between land and sea. So that's like a balance between being fully emotionally immersed and not being. So there is some objectivity. So anytime we deal with land, we're dealing with not being fully immersed in the water that is emotion. So there is some clarity of thinking there. So I had mentioned the closed cup with the angel wings, and this holding our subconscious. And again, she's very much reflecting on that, and that she's able to sit alone and have the quiet solitude to think and process what's going on. Now, let's say if we get this for ourselves or somebody we're reading for and it's in reverse, so it could mean that this person feels very insecure, overly sensitive. So when she's upright, we're dealing with a highly intuitive person, very much in tune with her emotions. When it's in reverse, we're talking chaos, and there is no control over it. Being unable to basically process and really have that barrier between what they say and do. They just act out of emotion, if that makes sense. It could also mean not expressing emotions. So it could be on either end of the spectrum. Either somebody's acting purely out of their emotional state, or they're really bottling it up, like we were talking earlier on with that horrible male stereotype where, they don't talk about what they're feeling and thinking, although it's definitely under the surface. Emotions being out of control, acting out of emotion, and it's neglecting your own emotional health, because I always say this, our mental health, which also includes our emotional health, will transform and impact our physical health if we don't take care of it. So I thought those were some pretty good descriptors of this car as a whole. And other than that, and then of course we've got predominantly blue and yellow colors. The yellow, even the ground is, even though I know she's on a beach. Again, we're talking warmth, enlightenment, illumination, knowledge. Blue being calm, tranquility, truth. And again, that stone throne that she's sitting on, this is not a comfortable throne to sit on. So when I see this, it's like a burden. Like, yeah, it's great that she's so in tune with herself, but to be on this throne and to have this inner dialogue that she's having, it appears really uncomfortable and intense. So then we'll look at our other cards for comparison and see what symbols carry over. So with this, we have our little crow friend. And so we have the lotus here, which is like a spiritual awakening. We have the crescent moon, okay? So when we see a crescent moon, it's not like a full moon. We do not have full illumination. We've got more of the unknown when we think of the moon in tarot. In the card, we have predominantly water. So we have predominant blue themes. We have the cup with the angel wings on either side of it. Again, somebody's faith does come into play. This is divine influence as they're doing that soul searching. And the blue predominantly takes up most of the card. The throne that this little guy is seated on, she's on the beach. But again, she's very much got the water in play in this card. And it's taken her some time, but she's built up this really pretty throne, and more than likely has given some great thought as to how she wanted to construct it, being close to the water and getting that time to reflect. So the crow is looking at that cup. So I really like that. And then other than that, that's really the gist of what I see on that card. With this one, we see a lady and there's chaos behind her. And she's holding onto a cup. It's not even like she cares about what's going on around her. She is entirely focused on that cup and keeping the fluid in the cup within that container and not losing it. Very much shares that same sharp focus as in a Rider-Waite-Smith. And that's with the chaos going on. And again, a lot of water themes, you know, and that just to me is symbolic of the emotional turmoil that can be in somebody and the chaos. Here's another one where again we've got predominant blue themes, and she's immersed in water. Okay, so like back here, that's like her throne. So in sharp contrast to the Rider-Waite-Smith, the artist has immersed this lady in water. However, it looks like it's just right up above the elbows. She's trying to keep her hands out of the water. She's meditating. She's in deep thought, reflecting. Her cup is right here. And you see the light above her. So that's like she's immersed in prayer, meditation, reflection to gain insight as to what's going on. And again, we have subconscious themes in play. Okay. And then our last one, I always leave us with one that's not based in Rider-Waite-Smith. And it's a really pretty card. I like the attention to detail on it. It shows part of a lady's face. It's like she's looking up at us from a hole in the ground. There is no water. She does wear a crown. It looks like a bird has made a nest, like, on her hair. That could not be comfortable. And her eyes are all glassed over. So maybe it's a little emotional, not knowing what to do with that little guy. She probably needs to help him find another home instead of on her head. And we have a lot of green in play, so there's green vegetation. So other than her eyes being glassed over, and the little bird is holding keys. So when I think of keys, I think of it unlocking a door, which would be symbolic of a knowledge base. And we've got that crescent moon, so we don't have full illumination. I still am not a fan. I don't feel like it does this card justice if you put the two together. Especially if you're learning, it's not going to convey the same message, and we don't even have the same predominant color use in play. So that's why it's so important to get one based in Rider-Waite-Smith. But see, I mean, the artist can take liberties as well, you know, as long as they carry over some of the color use and symbols, then the overall meaning of the card, it's still, it communicates, it transfers over. And I love it when they're able, you know, to do that. It makes sense to me, you know. So yeah, that sums up our Queen of Cups. And then tomorrow we'll wrap up our court cards for cups and we'll review the King of Cups. So, Honor, you're on here. I didn't even see that. Hi, good evening. You have to let me know how you're doing. So, of course, if you hop on late, no worries. You can always catch me on my replay. So yeah, we'll do the King of Cups tomorrow. And I think we'll kind of just go from there, you know. And then the next suit we'll delve into will be the Wands and learn all about them. So I hope you guys have a restful evening. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks again for showing up and hanging out with me. Bye.